The Midnight Messages. The night after Ipsa's funeral, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The pain was a relentless ache in my chest. My mother had woken me up with the news of her death, her own grief consuming her. In a daze, I found myself comforting her instead of grappling with the reality that Ipsa was gone. It wasn't until she left the room that the weight of the loss truly hit me. I cried for hours, my heart breaking over the final words we had exchanged, a fight over the phone that now seemed so insignificant compared to the void left by her absence. The funeral was unbearable. Ipsa's body, made up excessively, looked nothing like the vibrant person I loved. I barely managed to glance at her before I felt ill. That night I hugged my pillow, unable to sleep. My mind was a whirlwind of memories and regret. Desperate for a connection, I fumbled for my phone in the dark. I found our last text conversation, and in a moment of sorrowful longing sent her a final message. Me. I'm so sorry, Ipsa. I'll love you forever. I hit send and eventually drifted into a restless sleep. I woke to the buzz of my phone at 1:49 a.m., the screen illuminated with a message from Ipsa's phone. My heart raced as I read, Ipsa, forever? Confused and angry, I typed back, me. Who is this, Ipsa? It's me, Ipsa. Tears welled up in my eyes, mixing with the anger I felt. I demanded to know who was on the other end. Me. Whoever the hell this is, please, just stop. Ipsa. It's me, I promise, I'll prove it. Ask me something only I would know. I questioned her relentlessly, firing off personal details and memories that only Ipsa would know. As the dawn approached, I was convinced. It was her. She said she couldn't reveal where she was, but assured me it was amazing and that she was happy. She mentioned it was against the rules to contact me, but she couldn't help herself. The thought that she was still out there, still thinking of me, made me smile. She couldn't call, but she promised to text whenever she could. For months, we exchanged messages, often late at night. We reminisced about our time together, and though she never shared details about her new existence, I cherished every word. Then one night, she suggested that I start dating again. I resisted, telling her that I wasn't ready to move on. Our conversation turned into an argument. Ipsa, I don't think we should text each other anymore. Me, what are you talking about? Ipsa, this was a bad idea, I'm sorry. Me, no, wait, I'm sorry, I can't lose you again. Ipsa, I love you. Ipsa, goodbye. I spent weeks pleading for a response, my grief deepening as I felt the loss all over again. The nightly texts stopped, and I fell into a deep depression. One night, after waking from a dream of Ipsa, I found myself alone in the cold, dark room. The window was open, and the chill added to my desolation. I grabbed my phone to check the time, 1:49 a.m., no messages. A faint rustling sound from the closet caught my attention. I looked up, and there she was, Ipsa, emerging slowly from behind my hanging clothes. Her dark, wavy hair and pale skin glowed in the moonlight filtering through the window. Her presence was both comforting and terrifying. Ipsa, I whispered, my heart pounding in my chest. She didn't speak. She just gazed at me with a sideways smile. Suddenly my phone vibrated on the bed. I jumped, and Ipsa looked down at it. With a trembling hand, I picked up the phone and read the message. Ipsa, that's not me. The message sent a shiver down my spine. My heart raced as I stared at the screen, realizing that something was terribly wrong. The thought of someone, or something, impersonating Ipsa, reaching out to me in her name, filled me with dread. The room felt colder, and the shadows seemed to close in around me.
The Haunting Challenge. In the bustling city of Pune, within the premises of a renowned governmental teaching hospital, a chilling legend was born. It all began with a group of senior medical students who were notorious for their cruel pranks on freshmen. Their favorite pastime was ragging, a practice where seniors would impose humiliating tasks on newcomers to assert their dominance. One evening, a new batch of freshmen arrived, eager yet apprehensive. Among them was a particularly confident young man named Arjun. Arjun was known for his skepticism about supernatural occurrences. He often boasted about his disbelief in ghosts and spirits, dismissing them as mere figments of imagination. The senior students, always on the lookout for a new victim to entertain their twisted sense of humor, decided to target Arjun. They hatched a plan to test his skepticism in a way that would leave him terrified. Their challenge was both simple and sinister. On the next no-moon night, Arjun was to enter the hospital's morgue and place a rose on each of the 10 corpses lying on the tables. The twist? He was to perform this task at midnight, a time when the darkness of the no-moon night would amplify the eeriness of the setting. Arjun, confident in his disbelief, accepted the challenge with a smirk. The seniors were eager to see how he would handle the spine-chilling task. On the designated night, Arjun entered the morgue carrying 10 roses, 1 for each of the corpses. The morgue, dimly lit by a single flickering bulb, was a cold and sterile place. The corpses were laid out on large metal tables, their bodies covered with white sheets. With a steady hand and a brave heart, Arjun placed a rose on the hand of each corpse, starting from the first table and moving methodically to the 10th. His mind was focused, his steps deliberate. He finished the task, feeling a sense of accomplishment. As he turned to leave, the silence of the morgue seemed almost oppressive, and the darkness outside seemed to press against the thin walls. Just as Arjun reached for the door, a low, raspy voice echoed through the room, freezing him in his tracks. "Where is my rose?" the voice demanded. Arjun's blood ran cold. He spun around, and to his horror, he saw an 11th corpse standing upright. The figure was eerily familiar. It was one of the senior students who had issued the challenge, a senior who had been missing for some time under mysterious circumstances. The sight was too much for Arjun. His vision blurred, his knees buckled, and he collapsed to the floor in a dead faint. The supposed ghost of the missing senior let out a chilling laugh, knowing that Arjun had been tricked. When Arjun regained consciousness, he was found by the hospital staff and taken away from the morgue. The senior students, having orchestrated the prank, were never seen again. The legend of Arjun and the haunted morgue became a popular tale in Pune, a story told and retold with growing embellishment, each telling adding to the legend's eerie allure. To this day, the tale serves as a cautionary reminder of the power of belief and the terrifying consequences of challenging the unknown. Mysterious. Photo 1, crisp autumn day at Riverside Elementary. A boy named Tom sat at his desk in math class. The minutes ticked away slowly as he finished his homework. Tom's desk was conveniently placed next to the window, allowing him to gaze outside occasionally. On this particular day, as he glanced at the lush green grass, something peculiar caught his eye. A flutter of colour stood out against the backdrop of the grass, so vivid that it seemed like a vibrant painting. Intrigued, Tom waited eagerly for the bell to ring, signalling the end of the school day. When it finally did, he bolted from his desk, racing towards the spot where he had seen the colourful object. He didn't want anyone else to snatch it up. As he reached the location, Tom spotted a small weathered photograph lying amidst the grass. Carefully, he picked it up, and his heart skipped a beat. The photograph featured a stunning young girl with a radiant smile. She wore a dress with colourful tights and bright red shoes, her hand raised in a cheerful peace sign. Tom was captivated by her beauty and felt an inexplicable desire to meet her. Determined, Tom began his quest. He ran through the hallways, approaching every student he could find, asking if they recognized the girl in the photograph. Each time, he was met with puzzled looks and negative responses. The disappointment weighed heavily on him. When Tom arrived home, he sought his older sister's help. He showed her the photograph and asked if she knew who the girl was. Unfortunately, she too was unfamiliar with her. Feeling dejected, Tom went to bed, placing the photograph on his bedside table. In the dead of night, a sharp rhythmic tapping woke Tom from his sleep. Startled, he sat up and listened. The tapping continued, accompanied by a faint giggle that sent shivers down his spine. A shadow danced near his window, drawing him towards it. Summoning his courage, Tom opened the window and peered outside. The shadow and the giggling vanished into the darkness. The next day, Tom's quest continued. He asked neighbors, friends, and even his mother if they had ever seen the girl in the photograph. Each inquiry ended in disappointment. Exhausted and frustrated, Tom returned to his room, placing the photograph back on his desk before falling into a restless sleep. Once more, Tom was awakened by the familiar tapping sound. Grabbing the photograph, he followed the eerie giggling that led him outside. This time, he ventured across the road, the sounds guiding him forward. In his fixation on the photograph and the mysterious sounds, he failed to notice a car speeding towards him. The vehicle struck him and he crumpled to the ground, the photograph still clutched in his hand. The driver, horrified, immediately rushed out to help, but it was too late. As the driver's gaze fell upon the photograph, he picked it up. His eyes widened as he recognized the girl in the photograph. It was his own daughter, who had been missing for some time. As the driver stared in shock, the photograph revealed a hidden detail. The girl was holding up 3 fingers, not just 2, indicating a message of hope, or perhaps a clue to her whereabouts. The driver's realization deepened the mystery, and the photograph, now a symbol of a haunting enigma, carried with it a story of loss, hope, and the unknown.